The never-ending story of finding a niche. How do you find one? Do you even need one? And how can you choose one that hasn't been tapped into yet and become saturated? Well, guys, as you know, I'm here to provide you with all of the value, all of the answers in terms of how to find a niche, because this is one of the most important things that if you don't fix it in the beginning of your stage or in the midst of your stage when you're an agency owner, coach, or consultant, you're gonna have a really hard time growing your business and getting it to the next level. Because as you might know, I myself have started off with many different niches in the beginning. First, my niche was e-commerce, then it was restaurants, then it was realtors. And once I found realtors, I was able to have such a specific message to this audience so I can actually convert them, get them to talk with me. And it was much easier than me talking to everyone, because the saying goes, if you are focusing on helping everyone, you're basically helping no one, because you need to have a specific market that you're talking to, especially when you begin and especially when you're starting to scale, because your messaging is going to be more specific to the audience. Like my audience right now, agency owners, coaches, consultants, is my niche. And I know this niche to the T because I've gone through it, the things basically that you are probably going through, like setting appointments or choosing a niche or doing anything like that. So without further ado, I want to get into a short document that I've created for you today. It's going to be a short video and straight to the point, because I want to make known to you why it's important to have a niche. But not only that, give you also the opportunities to choose a niche that hasn't been tapped yet, and before it's basically too late and before anyone else has actually chosen this niche. So let's get into my screen and take you through it. So without further ado, as you can see here, there's a 100 SMMA niches list that I created for you guys. And no, this has not been created by ChatGPT, okay? So I've created this by hand and I want to share this with you. And if you want to access this list, go ahead and click on the link in the description down below. You'll find actually the link to this document. You can actually make a copy of it. If you go to the top left, click on file, and then basically make a copy of it. So without further ado, I want to take you through a couple of niches. Now, before we get into the niches that you're seeing on your screen right now, like restaurants, cafes, fashion, clothing brands, I want to let know to you that it's really important that you understand why you need a niche, right? The reason why you need a niche is because your messaging is going to be so specific to a audience that they are going to feel something when you say that. And it's also easier for you to get to know the problems, needs, and desires, what it's all about in business, to actually get a specific solution for these people. Let me give you an example. If someone has cancer, God forbid, if someone has cancer and they have that specific disease, then how are you going to actually help them to cure that if you're helping every type of person that has a different disease? You can't. You need to focus in on helping them or finding a solution that helps them cure their cancer. And that's going to be a project, on its own. You cannot focus on helping people, cure cancer and also do something else and cure tons of different diseases. You need to focus on one and make that your thing. So making that said, if you are targeting, for example, restaurants or cafes, and you really want to figure out, you choose that niche, you really want to figure out what are their problems, needs, and desires. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are their problems, needs, and desires? So meaning restaurants and cafes might not have an issue with getting clients. They might be fully booked with clients and appointments. Their thing might be that they need more personnel. They might need a lot more employees, right? That could be the case for them. Or they might need more, help with their website or their social media management. It all depends on what they need. So your task as an agency owner, coach, or consultant is to find within your niche what their biggest problems, needs, and desires are. And once you found that, give them value, aka the solution to their problem, so they can actually fix that. Now, with restaurants and cafes, the reason why I've also, now that you know why a niche is important, I've, listed all of these niches and I've given you a success rate. Now, what do I mean with this success rate? The success rate is based upon the biggest, basically, problems, needs, and desires that this niche has. So in my opinion, because I've worked with restaurants and most of these niches that you're going to see here, is that their problems, needs, and desires are there, but they're usually not aware of them, or they don't want to be aware of them. So what I mean with that is they know that they need more clients, they know that they need more employees, but they will just not acknowledge it because they're too busy on the daily slump of just running their restaurant business, right? It's a business where you need to be on the entire day. And not only that, you're probably up until 2 and 3 before you close the restaurant down. And then you basically go up until basically 2 p.m., 3 p.m., you're back in the restaurant preparing the lunch and preparing the dinners and all those things. Now, with a different niche like fashion and clothing brands, you will probably, see that the success rate is a little bit higher. Because the reason why is because they sell a little bit more. I have to say though, it's a really tough niche because, how can you be different with from one clothing brand and another? Because you're selling the same thing. You're selling clothing, so it's really difficult to make a a difference in terms of their unique selling points and how they can become different when you're talking about fashion and clothing brands, right? Now, what's different between like a Dior and a Gucci? It's basically still the same thing. It's clothing. The only thing is that they're more exclusive and they have a bigger name and they've been in the game for a lot longer, right? So with that being said, you have health and wellness companies, which I'm a big fan of. I always think that, like personal trainers, gyms, and specifically those niches will always have big problems, needs, and desires. Even during the, C19 times, they've also always had, a big remark in terms of marketing and doing that. They are pretty much aware of it. Now, to say that these are untapped, I would I would be lying to you. These are not untapped. These are niches that are tapped. But the thing is that what makes the difference between them being untapped is you understanding the principles that I just mentioned to you. So if you understand that it's all about problems, needs, and desires, you're not going to take a look at it. Oh, I need to, give them AI solutions. I need to look at my offer. I need to have my offer in place so they're going to, find it interesting. Well, they're not going to find your offer interesting unless you actually speak to their problems, needs, and desires. If you speak towards what they need, right? Let's say, for example, the cancer patient, if I speak towards that person, they're going to feel something. They're going to feel triggered because I mention them as a person in terms of what they have. So if I go to health and wellness companies and I say, hey, do you want more leads? They're going to say, no, you're the 10th person that's called me today. So what I can better do is I can go to them and I can say, hey, I'm doing a research right now. I want to get to know your problems, needs, and desires. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I'm doing research for my new business and I would like to get to know a little bit more about your business. Before you give me any dollar or any penny, I want to get to know you first and what you need and see if I can actually help you with the things that I'm providing you. Now, you might not have something that you can provide them with. The most important thing is that you understand what they need so you can find something once you've gathered that answer. That's the most important thing about this. I can give you a list of 1,000 niches that have been untapped or even tapped, but it's not about that. It's about you understanding these niches to the point where their problems, needs, and desires on a success rate are high enough so you can actually help them with something specific that you can give to them, if that makes sense. Now, with that being said, you have e-commerce stores, right? One of my favorites because we're still working with e-commerce stores to this day. Fitness centers and personal trainers, 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Travel agencies and tourism, this is something that a lot of people start with, I notice, but it's not really a niche that has really big problems, needs, and desires. I mean, they always want clients, of course, but you're going to have a big separation between the big ones and the small ones. So you want to choose kind of some ones in the middle or like the small ones, but the small ones are not going to have budgets, so you're going to run into issues, and the big ones are not going to be working with you because they already have like a big marketing team that's working inbound or in-house. And then we have real estate agents, one of the most, often chosen niches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, filter out all of the niches that have a 9, just so you have an idea that these are niches that basically have big problems, needs, and desires. But you got to also keep in mind, these are probably niches that have already been taken, right? So if you want to have, niches that haven't been taken, you can just do a 5 and just go for those niches. So for example, you have pet stores and pet care services. I don't see a lot of people doing this, to be honest. I think it's a pretty untapped niche that you can actually go into and start helping people in. Also jewelry stores and environmentally friendly brands, sports teams, sporting events. This is also a really interesting one because I've met one person who had a sports team, like a football team, as a client. Now, I'm not talking about a small, amateur division league team. I'm talking about a professional team. And the way that he's been helping them is by helping them with their social media. Is because if you don't know, if you look at the Instagram pages or the Facebook pages of these big football clubs, they all have agencies working with them. They all have marketing agencies working with them and doing their ads. So that is an untapped niche that no one is almost talking about, which is really interesting. Also, one thing is gaming and esports companies. I don't see a lot of people tapping into this because there's 2 ways that you can take a look at it. You can help esports companies, but you can also help esports gamers also, get more awareness to their name if they're really good through their social media and start running ads to, get them connected with specific esports companies. Now, that is one thing that you got to keep in mind. So there are niches here that are a 5, like media schools, training institutes, online dating and matchmaking services. That's not a lot of people aren't talking about that. You also have coaches that also do online dating and specifically help people on that part. And you also have social media management tools. You have children's clothing and toys and toy stores. And you have a lot of different things in that regard. So if you want to take a look at, the specific niches that aren't really tapped, go ahead and just filter it on a 5 because you're going to see a lot of things that actually, can, benefit you in terms of, people that aren't already doing it, but there's still a problem, need, and desire. The only thing is they might not be as aware of it as the other people might be in the other niches that are more tapped. For example, home care and nursing services. I mean, these are things that, they want clients and they pay big sums for it. The thing is, not a lot of people go for them because they see and hear other people, oh, I need to do realtors because there's probably more money in realtors. Well, yes, there is, but there's also other niches where there's also money. The thing is, anywhere where there's a market, where there's types of businesses, you can go in there and find out if they actually need something. And if they do, you can always find a solution to give them what they need. To give you an example, if I go to wine and liquor stores and I tell them, hey, what do you need? And they tell me, no, we need more people that we can, B2B, that we need to go to, that we can actually help them with their menu cards, or restaurants or sommeliers or something like that. We can help them with the menu cards to get more, wine cards basically improved in there. And I can be like, okay, that makes sense. Now let me help you with that, right? I can help you with that by running Facebook ads to a specific landing page where we can find, restaurant owners that actually need improvements with their menu cards. Really simple. So it all depends on your creativity and open-mindedness to be able to understand these niches before judging them and saying, oh, this niche doesn't work, or I need to change the niche, or I need to do this, I need to do that. Like, don't go looking across the room, right? Don't go looking across at your neighbors for their garden. Water your garden first and focus in on that one. Because too many people start focusing too much on AI automations and all these other things. Well, you basically have gold on your hands and in your garden where you can focus on in the first place. Now, if you were to ask me which niche would I would start with, if I were, beginning with, I would choose one out of these ones. And I would preferably, to be honest, choose one basically that has a lower success rate in terms of, lower rate of problems, awareness, and needs and desires. The reason why is because I understand that I can go into a niche and find a problem that they have, find a need or a desire that they have, and help them with that, right? And find a solution for that. So, for example, for me, I was always looking back and thinking of, what type of companies would I go into. These are two that I would go into. I would go into interior designers. The reason why is because I know a lot of people that know a lot of things about interior design. I know a lot of YouTubers that do interior design. I know a lot of people that, are active in that realm. And not only that, but if you look at their, lifetime value and the income that they make, it's exponentially higher than, for example, a lot of niches that are listed on this list. So I would go for that niche because I know that they actually need something. So in that regard, I could go to them. I could say like, hey, you're an interior designer. Tell me a little bit more about your struggles. Tell me a little bit about your pains. Tell me a little bit about your problems. Now, in terms of if they have those, I would go ahead and say, okay, well, that sounds good. How can I make, what could I do for you to make, it worthwhile that we could have a partnership together? And they could say, you could bring me more clients that, I could do interior design for, or you could bring me more, employees that could work for my interior design company. Now, there are a lot of interior design companies, so I would go with that one. Another one that I would go with, just looking back for myself, is construction and renovation companies. The reason why I would go with this one is that, yes, this is a little bit more of a, tap niche, but I would say, in terms of the possibilities of this niche, and also not only just, choosing this niche, but thinking long term, I would be able to productize my service. Meaning what I could do is I could get one client on board. I could have a process in place that could get automated leads, like for example, like running ads to a simple landing page, getting them, calling them and converting them to a call. And at the back end, I could have a specific system where I could just copy paste things and get them results all the time, which could be also a landing page and getting them leads and results and clients for their business. So these are two niches that I would choose if I were to start over again. But as for right now, I do e-commerce and coaches, right? Because that's a niche that I've been in for the longest of time. I actually had my own e-commerce brand and own e-commerce store. It's called Humble. And then from there on out, I branched out into coaching. So I've been a coach for the past 3-4 years, knowing what that business takes. I can also speak their language more instead of me just not being a coach and just doing random things. Now, with that being said, those are the niches, and that is the list of niches. So there's two ways that you can take a look at this. You might be someone right now who doesn't have a niche, or you just have, I do AI, or I do this, or I heard from one YouTuber that I need to do AI automations. Well, listen, you need to minimize things. You need to make things simple. Don't overcomplicate them. They're probably going to overcomplicate things because they want to sell you something. In this regard, I'm just giving you a list. You don't have to do anything, right? If you want to take a look at the link in the description, go ahead and do that. There will be a video sales letter that you can check out. If you want to do that, you can click that. You can see it. But other than that, there's nothing else that I'm trying to, bring here for you, unless you want your problems, needs, and desires fixed. Because like I said, my niche is agency owners, coaching, consultants. So if you're looking for a way to get more help, then yes, there is a way that we can help you, but it's not the main thing. The main thing is me providing you with value so you can actually use something and get some results without even having to pay me a penny. Now, and you see how I do this also here as well. What I say, you should be doing the same thing with your clients, okay? That aside, you might be one of these two people. The first person is someone looking for a niche who doesn't have a niche. You just help everyone. You just think that that's the way to go because people are going to fall in love with your offer. Stop romanticizing things. They're not going to fall in love with your offer. They're going to fall in love with your solution to their problems, needs, and desires. Think about that. They're not going to fall in love with your offer. They're going to fall in love with your solution to fixing their problems, needs, and desires. Meaning, you need to become aware of what their problems, needs, and desires are before even thinking about an offer. If you haven't talked about with 30 people from a niche that you've chosen here, don't even think about having an offer that's already set in stone. It's not. You don't know what people need. So take a step back, okay, and go ahead and find one niche that, doesn't even have to have alignment with what you do. It can just be something that you might have a small passion for. You might have something with, or you have family members that are also in that niche, or you might have connections that are in that niche. So for example, if you have someone that has a pet store and a pet care service and you know that your family member or acquaintance has that, go to them. Ask them, what their biggest problems, needs, and desires are, what they think that would be, because they have a little bit more connections with that specific niche. So once you've done that, you go ahead, you talk with them, you talk with 30 people in that specific niche. Before you've talked with 30 people, don't even think about, like I said, about your offer and having it set in stone. Tweak your offer, make it different, and mention to them, what do you think of this? What do you think of this offer? Would you actually take this on if we were to start a partnership? I'm not saying that we are gonna, but if we were to do something together, do you think this is interesting enough? And I will guarantee you that they will say, I don't care what it is, does it give me results? That's the most important thing that they care about, okay? So that's number one. If you're number two, the person number two, you might already have a niche. You might already be an agency owner having 5, 10, 15, 20 clients. You might be a coach consultant having the same thing. Now, how do you go from there? Well, there might be a case that you kind of have a niche, but you don't really have it like fully clear in terms of what your niche is. So I would like for you to go ahead and find the niche that you have in here, because it's probably also in here, set it in stone and define it a little bit more clearer. So by, for example, saying, I help this niche. So I help, for example, e-commerce stores. I help personal trainers solve, and then their problem, need, or desire. So solve the client problem, through my method, through my offer. So I help personal trainers get more personal training clients through my, automated system, program, basically something like that, right? So you can actually have a niche mentioned, the problem that they have because it speaks their language, and then basically solution. Now, don't go and say, I help people get results, or I help people, get more clients. Like, that's too broad. If you get a niche, if you, go and say, I help doctors, that's already more specific. That's already better. That's going to speak your language, showcasing that you know what you're talking about. If you then go ahead and say, I help doctors get more X clients, and you speak with, in terms of clients, you say like, for example, clients that have a specific, problem or like knee problems, then you're going even more specific. So meaning they'll get triggered when you mention that, because they'll know, oh, this person knows what he's talking about. He's specialized in this. And for you, for example, if you have a tooth problem, you're not going to be looking for a generalist. You're going to be looking for a specialist. You're going to be looking for someone that can fix this. You don't care if they can do anything else. You're going to care if they can actually fix your tooth, if that makes sense. So if you're the second person, define your basically your niche, your problem, and your offer really short. You can also put that in your bio on LinkedIn or Instagram or you name it. Then once you have that, you can move forward and say, okay, I have this set in stone. I'm going to be targeting and finding ways to target more of these people in terms of how it can be scaling and how it can be setting up systems so I can acquire them, which usually comes down to running paid ads, right? Or having an organic system that can actually nurture, basically make those people more aware of what you're doing. Even if it might be a small audience, if you have a great offer in place, you're going to make a lot of money. Now, with that being said, that's what I would do if I were in these two positions. So find a niche, choose one, start talking with 30 people if you're in position 1. If you're in position 2, define your niche more clearer and start going ahead and taking a look at, okay, how can I basically scale this up? And usually it comes down to client acquisition. Now, if it comes down to client acquisition, we have a solution for this. So if you look in the description down below, you'll find a link in terms of how we are getting more than 45 appointments per week sometimes for our clients and for ourselves with our agency coaching and consulting business. And you can take a look at how we can do that as well. So go ahead, opt in. Yes, it is a VSL that you can watch, but it is a really short one that will give you a lot of value up front. Then you can understand how to take that, either yourself or have a call with me or one of my team members and see how we can help you set the next level and go to the next step. So with that being said, guys, I hope this was of value for you. This was the video about, 100 different niches that you can take with you right now, choose ones, and basically get started immediately today. Let me know what you thought of this video by leaving a comment down below. Like this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.